Alright, so I guess we're going to start with the 64 collection, which I guess I should start with over here. The 64 was my first home console. That was thanks to Michael, who was filming me right now. I went over to his house actually, and he had a 64. He was playing Banjo-Kazooie, and I played it the entire time I was there. And then that's all I wanted, and that's all I would talk about. So I can't remember if it was a Christmas present or my birthday present, but they bought me the charcoal gray 64, which is over there on the shelf. It's the same one I always have. It's got chips and damage to it and stuff, but it still works just fine. And my first game was Banjo-Kazooie and Super Mario 64. And these are all the boxed games. The three on the top here are the ones I actually have from when I was a kid. Turok, Spider-Man, and James Bond. And those are the ones I had from my youngest ages. And that's a Super Nintendo game. And then these are all of the boxed 64 games I've collected since then. This is a booklet, or a box of booklets from the 64 that I've kept randomly, like Mario Party and Star Wars Episode 1 Pod Racing. And I got my Box Smoke 64 and my Jungle Green 64, and I'm currently trying to collect all the different colors of the Fantastic series. And while we're over here also, the Banjo-Kazooie VHS tape, there's 24 of these, or supposedly there's 24 of these, and I'm actually going to try to collect them all because none of them are really extremely rare. Then over here is my actual 64 collection. I'm trying to collect all 296 Nintendo 64 games for America. That includes the... I'm also getting the... I got both copies, the gold and the non-gold version of Legend of Zelda. And I'm trying to get it was 3 or 4 Japanese games, including Animal Crossing, and there's a Disney Dance Dance Revolution game, and Sin of Punishment are among the ones I want for the Japanese releases. You can see this entire shelf will eventually be filled up with nothing but 64 games. I may even have to move the shelf down so I can stack them higher just to get them to fit on the shelf. Well, I guess I'll move straight to this shelf, and I guess I'll start from here down. So this is an interesting PlayStation 3 because it looks like a PlayStation 3, the first model. However, there's nothing inside of it. I'm going to film this. It's completely hollow. Nothing in there.
Why do you have the hollow casing of a PlayStation?
Andrew had a PlayStation 3, and his broke, and he was never sure why. But he held on to the system, and one day, when he was getting his PlayStation 3 top loader, he was worried about the thermal paste issue. So we took his old PlayStation 3 apart because he had it, I think he said he had it horizontal, and most people were saying that thermal paste wore off more if you had it horizontal. So we took this apart and the thermal paste was still intact, but once we took it apart we actually broke a couple of inside pieces and it didn't work anyway, so we were like, well, why not? So we took it apart and I had the brilliant idea to put the shell back together, and I kept it. One day, in the near future, I will have an Atari 7800 in place of this PlayStation 3, and I'm not sure where this is going to be moved to yet. So, in a year from now, if we actually go back and do another video next June 1st, June 1st, 2014, there was probably going to be a 7800 sitting right here. This is the Vault-Tec lunchbox and the Fallout New Vegas Collector's Edition lunchbox. Very funny story, but this is actually just, I got this without the game because I bought the game first and then I bought the contents second. So it's a pretty cool lunchbox and stuff in the bobblehead from the lunchbox is up here. Then the PlayStation 2 out of its generation was my console of choice. As you can see, I have most games for it from that generation. I really enjoyed my PlayStation 2. I'm not really 100% sure why I enjoyed it so much, but I really did enjoy it. A lot of good memories there. Move on now to probably one of the smallest. For the home consoles, it's probably the one I have the least amount for, excluding the Dreamcast, the PlayStation 3. But the reason I have the smallest amount for it is because I usually only get the PlayStation 3 exclusive titles for the system. Up to here. Batman Arkham Asylum, I got it because you can exclusively play as the Joker. And I got Mortal Kombat on here because you can play as Kratos, so I went ahead and bought Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe so I could play as Kratos. I mean, so I could keep my Mortal Kombat collections on the same system.
Okay.
And then next to that, I got my PlayStation 1 games. I don't have many of those yet. I have actually a huge list. I never had the PlayStation 1 growing up. I got one recently. But I always go to Josh's house and play it. So. Then I got the GameCube shelf. So the majority of these games were actually ones I had growing up. And I've added a few to it since then, like the two Metroid Prime series and the Harvest Moon Magical Melody. But the funny thing is, by next year, I have a list of 36 GameCube games that I actually want. And some of them aren't exclusive, but most of them are. And that would take up almost this entire shelf just of GameCube games. So that's going to be interesting to see if I can get there next time. This would probably be the next smallest system I have. This is my entire PlayStation Portable library I have held in my hands. Every one of them is exclusive except for GeForce. Don't really know why I have that one exactly. It's really small. I like the PSP, but it needs more games, I think. And then I have the white Wii box behind there. And I have all of my Sega Genesis games right here. Alright, I guess we'll move on to up there. So as you can see, this entire top portion is all Xbox 360 games. I have a lot of those on the wall. Each stand holds 40 games, so that's 160 games on the wall. Counting Gears of War and Enchanted Arms, that is 162 games. Plus all of these, all of those, let's see, are all Xbox 360 games. I do have my Xbox original games mixed in with these, but there's only, I think, 6 of those. So there's not many of those. This one was definitely my console of choice during this generation. I collected the most games on there. Pretty much, if it was third party and it was available on the 360, I chose to get it on the 360. There were a few exclusions, such as like the Rabbids games, because I wanted all of them on the Wii. Because a few of them were exclusive to the Wii, so I wanted them all on the Wii. That's a good way to go to my Wii collection. I got my Wii collection here on the sides. As you can see, it's completely full now. So one more game later, and all of my Wii games will be moved down, and my Xbox 360 games will be moved down, and that's just going to cause chaos all over the place. But besides that, I decided to merge my Wii U games with my Wii games, which I debated on for a long time. But I think the game that made me want to do it the most was Rabbids Go Home, because I already had a couple of the Rabbids games, and I didn't want to separate them. And it's already bugging me that I have to get the one on the 360 because it's exclusive. So that's bugging me. But other than that, that's my Wii collection. This one down here, I have to talk about it. This is actually a console. Well, it's considered a console by most people, but it's kind of like a plug and play, but it actually has game cartridges. There is only like, I think, 6 games made for this, and most of them come with extras, like the Whack-A-Mole game comes with a hammer. And it's like a prototype of the Kinect, actually, or the Sony iToy. It's got like a little webcam here, and you can see yourself on the screen, and it even has adjustable legs, so you can adjust the tilt and angle. It's a pretty cool system. It's called the GoGo TV. Behind here, on my little swivel stand, I don't care for PC games as much. So as you can see, this is all of my PC games on one shelf. And these are just blank CD cases I have in case I ever need to replace a PlayStation 1 game or a Dreamcast game. I can print off the cover art again, and I'll have an extra CD case just in case. This little box down here, as you saw over there, I keep random stuff in it. This one I have old memory cards, a Guitar Hero thing, a guitar strap, random accessories that don't fit anywhere else. And this is an actual plug-and-play Whack-A-Mole system. My brother was going to throw it away, and I was like, don't throw that away. What's wrong with you? Alright. Before I go over there, let's go up here and I'll talk about everything that's up there.
Gotcha.
So this is the infamous statue from the Infamous 2, Infamous 2 Collector's Edition. I got that on sale at GameStop for $50 because they had an extra one and were trying to get rid of it. And then I got the Game Boy Advance SP, the box, and I got the box separate. I think Mary Lou had her old system, but she lost the system but had the box still, which is usually reversed. But I bought the system separate and made sure they matched. This one is actually the one that made me decide to go back and get all the portable boxes. And then I got my Club Nintendo Game & Watch. I got my Kid Icarus Uprising box and the Wii GoldenEye 007 box. And then here is all of my portables for the Game Boy Color, the Game Boy, and the Game Boy Advance SP, and the Sega Handheld. Very small collection for that one. Some random figurines I have here. I've got the Rugrats. It's like a little pinball machine. I think it came from McDonald's, something like that. And I got an ET box here, which is just a little box that has ET in it that I put up there because ET on the Atari reminded me of that. For my next video, there's a Pac-Man arcade machine that's really tiny. That is metal. It has candy in it. I'm going to get the candy out and sit the little figure here so I'll have a matching arcade system there. That's something I'm going to do in the future. And also, I've got the golden Pokeball, or not, the shiny Pokeball with the golden Pokemon card inside. I have in the Pokeball Poliwhirl, and I have the golden Pikachu as well. I'm actually thinking about collecting all of those cards one day as well. I don't know how many there are, but it would be interesting to get a couple more Pokeballs too. This one's got some scratches on the surface. And then I've already talked about the bobblehead. So we'll move over here. Starting in this one, get a close-up of this one if you haven't already. This is like the little Mario area, and I put Maxwell there because it just kind of fits. And then up here I have a Sonic the Hedgehog figure, a Lego Joker figure, and something I think every game collection should have is a Rubik's Cube because it's awesome. I got a Crash Bandicoot figure, a Amazing Spider-Man figure, and a plush Psyduck figure. Back up to the top, I have my second Game & Watch. I have the Disney Sing-It Xbox 360 box. I have Pokemon Gold or Heart Gold and Soul Silver. And then I have Enchanted Arms, which I don't like that game much. I have the handheld Mattel Electronics basketball, which they made the Intellivision, so they made several handhelds also. The Game Boy Advance, and then my original Game Boy Color, the green one. Then I have the purple Game Boy with the box. Well, I guess I'll go down here to my other portables. My 3DS collection. It's going to grow tremendously because there's so many of those I want. I got my Guitar Hero accessories, and I got my original DS, the DS Lite, and the PSP. My 3DS box, which will one day have to be moved. Obviously, I'm running out of room. And then all of my DS games, which I have plenty of room to expand now. And I'm trying to weed out a couple of these too, because I got like Star Wars Force Unleashed on there, and I don't want it on there. My NES collection. I have two box ones, Major League Baseball by LGN and Rad Racer, and the only reason really I have those is because G2K had them, and I had to get them because it was an NES box. I think I've only got one with a booklet, which is Friday the 13th. I got several of them with the dust covers. I can see them there. I've gotten the majority of the games I want for the NES. Last time I counted the ones I really, really want, there were about anywhere from 25 to 30, which is roughly 2 more stacks, which will one day be here. This is my Super Nintendo collection. I'm not really worried about it as much as my other collections, because I can make a third row out. It'll barely be hanging over, and so that gives me 3 more stacks plus this one to complete, so I should be okay with that. Here in the middle is the very unpopular Intellivision. I have about 8 or 9 of those games. I don't have an Intellivision. just thought I should mention that. And hopefully I'll get one by next year because I really want to play one, and I think it'd be a great addition to Aeon Game 64. The Game Genie and the Super Game Boy are just some of the accessories I have for the Super Nintendo. And my Atari collection, which consists mainly of Activision games, arcade ports, and Halo 2600. I really enjoy that. Down here I have both of my Sega Game Gears, one of which has the handy gear protective sleeve or whatever you want to call it. And also on these I have Sonic and Columns. And behind that I have my boxed NES, the action set. It's not in mint condition, there are some tears there, but other than that, everything's included with it. The booklets, the manuals, the styrofoam, so it's really good. Then I'll go over to my actual consoles, starting with the NES top loader, so I have both variations of that. I got the Sega Genesis, although it's not the official Genesis, I still have to get that, so I can get my Sega CD and 32X. I got the Wii U in here. I had my Wii in here, but I moved it to the bedroom for two reasons. One, so I could watch Netflix in the bedroom. Two, so I could make room for the next-gen consoles until I get a bigger entertainment center. Something else I want to do by next year. Then I got my 64, which I already showed, the 360, the Super Nintendo, the PlayStation 2, the original Xbox, the GameCube, the PlayStation 3, the Sega Dreamcast. And in here I have my controllers for this side, everything but the Xbox 360, and I have my third variation of the NES, the Factor 5. And in this side I have the PlayStation 1 and all the controllers for this side, including my charging cable for the PlayStation 3. Well, I don't think I talked about this actually. The Atari 2600 itself is over here. And then I got the Pac-Man lunchbox that came with the thermos on the inside. It was really cool. I had to pick it up, especially since I have a lunchbox on that side. I don't really think there's anything else to talk about. If you quickly point the camera over there, one day I hope to have a corner curio cabinet right there, just so I can have a lot of my box systems and portables on display, so I can make more room for games over here and take some of those out, so I can actually have all of this stuff up here over there, so I can have more stuff up there. That's pretty much everything except for my Nintendo Power collection, which is not that interesting yet because it's barely a shelf.